guys, it's Sarah Jane from Coco, and today I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous waffle stitch. I saw this and I kind of fell in love with this pattern. It's really cute and I actually love the feel of it as well, and I thought it would be really nice to make a washcloth, but I also think it would be really nice to make a blanket as well. So what you're going to need is your yarn. Now if you're making a washcloth, I would choose to use a 100% cotton yarn rather than an acrylic, because it's more washable and just better to use for a washcloth. I'm using this yarn here. Now apologies, I've had this yarn for quite a while. I can't remember what it's called because I've thrown away the information, but I'm pretty sure it's a Debbie Bliss, but I will try and find one which is quite similar and I shall leave that in the description box below. You will need a pair of scissors just for snipping off the end. Now for this piece I used a 4mm crochet hook, but for the next piece I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook, and the US this is a size 8. So the reason I'm going to use this 5mm this time is just because I want to see what the pattern turns out in a slightly bigger size hook. But you want to start off by making your slip knot, and you can do this however way or whichever way you prefer. And for this tutorial we're going to be working in multiples of 3. So each one of these waffles is 3 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, etc. So you want to work in multiples of 3. I get asked a lot of questions of how many should I chain to begin with, because I do a lot of sort of sample pieces, and really what you want to do is just keep chaining 3 and then lay your work down on the floor or the table so that you can see what length that has become, and whatever length you want, that's the width of your blanket or your washcloth, whichever. So it's really totally up to you, and you can really make this unique to yourself. So you go to work in multiples of 3 and then you're going to add 4 more stitches to that. So for example today I'm going to chain 24 to start with and then add 4, so that is 28 in total, and that's the size my washcloth's going to be. So you've now got your slip knot and you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you will continue in that way until you get to the size chain or the length chain that you want. Please make sure that this chain isn't too tight, because we need to work back our way along the opposite direction in order to get our next stitches in. So pause the video and I shall meet you back once you've done your chain length. Okay, so now I've done my 28 chains. You're then going to work a double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So this is your first chain, this is your second chain, so we're going to be working in there. Now remember, I'm working in UK terms, so this is a treble stitch in the UK. In the US this is double crochet. So you want to yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So you have 2 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through 2. You're then going to yarn over and insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then again into your next stitch. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You would work your way along the whole of this chain, doing exactly the same thing into each chain space along your original chain. Be careful that you're not pulling too tight, otherwise you'll struggle to get all of your stitches in. So when you get to the end of your foundation chain, what you should find is that you have the same number of stitches as what you did your multiples of 3. So for example I did 24, and then you'll have 2 extra, so I will have 26 stitches in total. So it's always whatever your multiples were plus an extra 2 stitches. So if you want to pause the video, work your way to the end, and I shall meet you back there. Okay, so now I'm at the end of my foundation chain. Now when you're counting your stitches, you want to count all of them, and you're also going to count that very first stitch there. I know it's not actually a stitch, but it's from where we did our turning, so you would always count that. The reason why we add an extra 2 is because, say if we look at this piece here, we have a panel down either end that just neatens up the stitch a little bit more and helps the actual waffle shape stand out a little bit better. But if we actually look at this here, this was done with a 4mm crochet hook, and this is done with a 5mm crochet hook, and you can see the difference already in how much bigger the piece of work is going to be with a larger hook. So you can play around with that if you wanted to. Now what we want to do is work on our second row, and this is where we're actually going to start putting in the waffle stitch itself. So you want to yarn over and pull through, so chain 1, and then you want to turn your work, and in the top of this stitch just here, so on the base of the stitch, we're going to do a treble crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And we're actually going to start building our waffle now. So the way that we're going to do this is make one of the stitches stand out and 2 of the stitches stand backwards, or that's the way it's going to appear. And what you're going to do is actually work into this stitch here. So you're going to yarn over, and instead of going into the top of the stitch right like we normally would do, you're actually going to go behind the stitch. You're going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So what that does is it actually brings that stitch forward. Now into the next 2 stitches, we're going to work into the top of the stitch as normal. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then once more, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that is our 3 stitch repeat. So again, we are going to yarn over, and instead of going into the top of the next stitch, we're going to go underneath it. So all the way underneath. Yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And into the next 2 spaces, just do a treble as normal. So yarn over, insert into the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our second repeat. Going to do exactly the same thing, so we're working in this behind this stitch here. So yarn over, insert your hook behind that stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then 2 trebles into the tops of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then again yarn over, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And you're going to repeat that all the way to the end. Now don't forget we're going to have an extra stitch here, so just keep repeating that 3 until you get closer to the end, and I'll show you what to do in those last 2 stitches. Okay, so now I'm at the end of this row and I have my last 2 stitches just here. So we have 1 and 2. I've just done my last waffle repeat. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to, in my next stitch, insert my hook behind because we don't want to lose any of the pattern, and yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now when you get to this section here, it's almost like a double stitch together, and what I like to do is just yarn over and insert my hook towards the front of this stitch, so it doesn't matter if it goes between the two. So just as long as it's towards the front, then it's yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we have like a double panel just here, and then we also have a double panel at the other end. Now that we've started the actual waffle stitch itself, it will be a 2-row repeat. This row will be the same technique as the 3rd row and as the 6th row. But if we did the same technique for each row, you wouldn't get your waffle shape. So we're going to need to do something slightly different for the next row. So all you need to do when you've finished this row is chain 1 and turn your work. We're always going to do a treble into this first space here. So remember, that's double in the US. And we want to be thinking about which stitches we're going to bring forward. So now, as we look at the back here, if I just take another hook, these 2 stitches, it almost looks like we've got 2 forward and then 1 back, 2 forward and 1 back. So we're just going to need to alter it slightly in order to continue with the same pattern on the front. So in this next stitch, this is actually a backward stitch, or one that's towards the back. So we're just going to do a treble into the top of that stitch. And then for the next 2, we're going to do a treble behind the stitch. And then another one, a treble behind the stitch. So it's just doing it the opposite way round from the other side. So our next one will be in the top of the stitch. So it's yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then the next one is going to be behind the stitch. And then another one behind. So this time our 3-section repeat is top of the stitch, behind, behind, top of the stitch, behind, behind. And again, you're just going to repeat that all the way to the end of your row. And we'll just do something a little bit different in these last 2. So work your 3-stitch repeat and I shall meet you back at the end of your row. So I'm now at the end of my row, and these last 2 stitches are my side panel, and I've just done my last 2 stitches, which I've gone behind the last 2 stitches. So these last 2 are going to be in the tops of the work. So I'll do a treble into the next stitch, and then another treble into the next stitch. And that's pretty much it for the 2-row repeat, but I'll just recap again. We're going to chain 1, turn the work, and then you're always going to do a treble into this first stitch just there. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And this is the front of the work now. So because this one is standing forwards, we want to yarn over, insert our hook behind, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. The next 2 are the stitches which are going backwards. So we want to yarn over, insert, into the top of the stitch and do our treble, and then insert into the top of the stitch again and do another treble. Our next one is standing forwards, so we go behind the stitch, and the next one are standing backwards, so we go in the top of the stitch. So you just want to continue in exactly the same way all the way along. I'll show you one more time of how to get to the end of this row and how to turn to go into the next row. So work your way here and then I'll show you what to do next. So now I'm at the end of this row, and now you can really start to see that waffle stitch building. We're now doing our side panels, so all you need to do, because these two are standing outwards, you want to yarn over, put your needle behind that stitch and do your treble. And if you remember in this one here, it almost looks like two stitches together. I'm going to yarn over and just put I'm not going to put my hook all the way behind, just because I don't think it gives it a nice enough finish. I'm just going to put my hook anywhere into the front but towards the top of that stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, and yarn over, pull through two. And that creates our side panel, and you're going to chain one, turn your work, and then do a treble into this first stitch just as normal. And now we have the back of the work in front of us, so we have a stitch that is towards the back, so we work into the top of that stitch, and then the next two stitches we work behind them, so yarn over, behind the stitch, yarn over, pull through, do your treble, and then work behind the stitch again. And you would simply do that all the way along till the end. So now all that's left to do really is just repeat those two rows. Please feel free to rewind the video if you need to recap on what to do for row 1 and row 2. And you are going to build it to whichever size you want it to be. Now when you finish off, you're actually going to finish off by working on the back of the work. So work your way up to your last row working from the front of the work, and then I'll show you how to finish off your dishcloth or your blanket. Okay, so I'm actually running out of yarn, so I'm not going to be able to make this as big as what I did my other sample piece. So I'm just going to show you how you would finish off now. So I've just done the last row of the work facing towards me, which is what I said that you want to do. You're then going to chain one and you're going to turn your work. Now for this you're literally just going to do treble crochet or double crochet if you're in the US all the way along into every stitch of this row. So you've done your chain one, and now you just want to do a treble as normal into that first stitch. So you've done your first two stitches, and then you're simply going to do your trebles all the way along your work, working into the tops of those stitches. And it's as simple as that. So if you want to pause the video, work your way all the way to the end, and I'll show you how to tie off and get rid of those loose ends. Okay, so now I'm coming towards the end of this row. Apologies, I said that this is classed as your first two stitches at first, but that is actually just classed as one. So I'm just going to finish off this row. And I'm going to work my way all the way until my last 2 stitches are left, which is here, which is the side panel, and I'm actually going to treble crochet these together. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next space, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2, but leave those 2 loops on while we then pick up this next stitch. So it's yarn over, insert your hook into that very last stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and that just makes it look a little bit more tidy in the corner. You're then going to yarn over and pull through, grab your scissors and cut off, and then pull out the yarn. And all that you need to do then is take a darning needle and attach that to your end, and you're just going to weave that in anywhere into the work, good couple of inches, pull it back through and snip off the excess, and you'll do exactly the same to the other side. So that is your waffle stitch tutorial. I absolutely love this pattern. I love the feel of it, I love the look of it, and I think it would make a really cute baby blanket. If you do make this, please make sure you tag me on Twitter or on Instagram at @BellaCoco_. You can also use the hashtag BellaCocoCrochet so it makes it easier for me to find things and look back on them. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Click the subscribe button to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next time. Bye!